Someone insults you and your first instinct is to react. The Stoics knew exactly why that's wrong and how to handle insults without losing your power. You get insulted and immediately you're angry. Someone provokes you and you can't let it go. Someone disrespects you and you need to respond, to defend yourself, to put them in their place. This reaction is exactly what gives them power over you. The Stoics faced insults constantly. Marcus Aurelius had enemies who spread lies about him. Epictetus was mocked for being a former slave. Seneca was attacked by critics, but they didn't react the way most people do. They had a specific approach to insults that protected their peace and maintained their power. And once you understand this approach, words will never control you again. So what's the Stoic approach to insults? First, understand that an insult only has power if you accept it as true. Someone calls you stupid. If you know you're not stupid, their words mean nothing. If you're uncertain about your intelligence, their words wound you. The insult isn't the problem. Your doubt about yourself is the problem. Epictetus taught that people can't insult you. They can only state their opinion. Whether that opinion affects you is entirely up to you. Here's the shift. When someone insults you, they're revealing their opinion, not stating a fact. They think you're lazy or ugly or incompetent. That's their judgment. You can either accept their judgment as valid and feel hurt, or you can recognize it as just their opinion and remain unmoved. The Stoics chose to remain unmoved because they knew their worth wasn't determined by others' opinions. Most people react to insults because they need external validation. They need others to see them as smart, attractive, successful, whatever. So when someone suggests they're not those things, it threatens their entire sense of self. But if your sense of self comes from within, from your own assessment of your character and efforts, external opinions can't shake you. The first Stoic technique for handling insults is examining whether there's truth in them. When someone insults you, instead of immediately getting defensive, pause and consider if they have a point. Are you actually lazy like they said? If yes, thank them for the feedback and work on it. If no, dismiss it as inaccurate and move on. Either way, you're not wounded because you're evaluating the content rationally instead of reacting emotionally. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this constantly. If someone criticizes you and they're right, be grateful for the opportunity to improve. If they're wrong, their opinion is irrelevant. Either way, there's no reason to be upset. This approach removes all the sting from insults because you're treating them as data to evaluate, not attacks to defend against. Practice this. The next time someone insults you, ask yourself if there's any truth to it. If there is, acknowledge it and decide whether to work on it. If there isn't, recognize that their opinion is based on their flawed perception and let it go. No anger, no defense, just evaluation and decision. Second technique is considering the source. Not all opinions are equal. An insult from someone you respect might carry weight worth considering. An insult from someone you don't respect is meaningless. Epictetus said, if someone you wouldn't take advice from criticizes you, why would you care about their opinion? Their judgment doesn't matter because you don't value their judgment in the first place. When someone insults you, look at who they are. Is this someone whose opinion you value, someone who knows you well, someone who demonstrates the qualities you admire? If no, their insult is just noise. Why would you let noise from irrelevant sources disturb your peace? The Stoics were selective about whose opinions mattered. Random critics, enemies, people operating from ignorance, their opinions were dismissed immediately. Third approach is recognizing that insults reveal more about the insulter than the insulted. When someone attacks you, they're showing you their character, their insecurities, their issues. Someone who needs to put others down is revealing their own weakness. Someone who insults people regularly is showing they're unhappy with themselves. The insult isn't really about you. It's about them projecting their internal state outward. Seneca wrote that when someone insults you, feel pity for them, not anger. They're suffering from ignorance or pain or insecurity, and that's why they're lashing out. You don't get angry at a sick person for having symptoms of their sickness. Similarly, you don't get angry at a troubled person for displaying symptoms of their troubles through insults. When you see insults this way, they lose their power. Someone calls you names, and instead of anger, you recognize they're revealing their own issues. This doesn't mean you accept abuse, but it means you don't take it personally, because you understand it's not really about you. Fourth technique is choosing not to engage. The Stoics knew that responding to every insult is exhausting and pointless. Most insults don't deserve a response. They're not worth your time or energy. When you respond, you're giving the insulter exactly what they want, your attention and emotional reaction. When you ignore them, you maintain your power. Marcus Aurelius dealt with critics and enemies who spread lies about him. He could have spent all his time defending himself and fighting back. Instead, he ignored most of it and focused on his actual responsibilities. He understood that people who wanted to think poorly of him would believe whatever they wanted regardless of his defense. So why waste energy? Practice selective engagement. Most insults deserve complete silence. No reaction, no defense, nothing. Just move on with your day like it didn't happen. This drives insulters crazy because they wanted a reaction and got nothing. Meanwhile, you protected your peace and your time by refusing to play their game. Fifth approach is responding with calm indifference when you do choose to respond. Sometimes you need to address an insult, especially in professional or public settings. The Stoic way is not to match their energy with anger or defensiveness, but to respond calmly and factually. This shows strength while their insult showed weakness. Epictetus taught that you should remain calm in the face of provocation. If someone insults you and you respond with composure, you demonstrate that they have no power over you. If you respond with anger, you prove they got to you. The calm response is always stronger than the emotional one. When you must respond, keep it brief and unemotional. Correct any factual errors if necessary, state your position clearly, then move on. Don't get drawn into back and forth. Don't try to convince them or win the argument. Just state your piece calmly and be done with it. This approach maintains your dignity while showing that their provocation failed. Sixth technique is using insults as practice for self-control. The Stoics saw every insult as an opportunity to train their mind. Every provocation was a test of whether they could maintain their principles under pressure. Instead of seeing insults as problems, they saw them as training exercises. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself that difficult people were teaching him patience and self-control. When someone insulted him, that was his opportunity to practice not being controlled by others' words. Every time you encounter an insult and choose not to react emotionally, you're building your mental strength. You're proving to yourself that you control your responses, not other people. Reframe insults this way. Someone insults you, and instead of thinking, "How dare they?" think, "Here's my chance to practice self-control." Instead of getting angry, get curious about whether you can maintain your calm. Turn it into a game where the goal is staying unmoved. This mindset shift changes insults from attacks into opportunities. Here's what the Stoics really understood about insults. They only have the power you give them. Someone says words. Those words are just sounds or marks on a screen. They become powerful only when you accept them as meaningful and true. When you react emotionally, you're agreeing that their words matter. When you remain calm, you're demonstrating that their opinion is irrelevant. The strongest response to an insult is often no response at all. Complete indifference. The insulter wants to hurt you, to get a reaction, to prove they can affect you. When you give them nothing, when their words bounce off you like they never happened, you've won completely. You've shown that they're powerless to disturb your peace. Marcus Aurelius faced enemies who wanted to destroy him with words. but he knew that as long as he didn't accept their narrative, as long as he didn't let their opinions affect his self-image, they were powerless. His peace was entirely within his control. Their insults were just noise he could choose to ignore. Stop letting insults control you. Stop giving power to people's opinions. Stop reacting emotionally to words. Start examining insults rationally. Consider if there's truth to evaluate. Consider the source and whether their opinion matters. Recognize that insults reveal the insulter's issues, not your flaws. Choose not to engage with most insults. Respond calmly when you must respond. Use every insult as practice for self-control. The Stoics weren't insulted easily because they knew who they were. Their self-worth came from their character and principles, not from others' opinions. When you build that same internal foundation, external words can't shake you. Someone can call you anything they want, and you'll evaluate it rationally, dismiss it if it's false, or work on it if it's true. Either way, you're not wounded. Start practicing this today. The next insult you receive, pause before reacting. Ask if it's true. Consider the source. Recognize what it reveals about them. Choose whether to respond or ignore. Stay calm, regardless. Each time you do this, you're building immunity to insults. Eventually, words that would have destroyed your day will barely register because you've trained yourself not to give them power. The Stoics promise you this: master your response to insults, and you'll have mastered a huge part of your emotional life. Because if words can't control you, very little can.